Dr. Nordhoff, a psychiatrist, philosopher, doctor, neuroscientist, and writer, talks about a spontaneous brain, similar to spontaneous energy and sounds, with confusion and misdirection and failure. Now, but when a human stands up to a bully, when a human stands up and turns off a device instead of yelling at an object, there's decision making, problem solving. And unfortunately, where psychology fails has to do with their logic and lack of mathematical information other than an experiment with behavior in a lab with a rat and monkey, a human in a social housing subsidized building in Seattle where the University of Washington operates, surgically removing and allowing only those approved postures and gestures, sounds and words and language and letters and sentences with grammar and linguistics students decide in their classrooms are okay for a civilization in a city where Capitol Hill needs no Senate, no House, no committee, and no government in a federal building in Washington, D.C. to stop them from coming to your house and your home and your apartment and your small living quarters to tell you you are a white racist supremacist and you are a bitch and you need to shut up and enjoy their cognitive dissonance they provide you, along with some black styled clothing and combat boots to prepare you for their war they're fighting on an earth and a land where they are so indigenous and tribal and primitive. They eat paleo and they enjoy a keto breakfast after not sleeping ever in a bed they now use for their practice of ritual behavior, defeat, and philosophy and theory, regarded as more important than some biophysics neuroscience department with some man, some woman who know equations and differential numbers and use biopsychology to test those blood counts for those hormones and those toxicity, energy providing dangerous testosterones they see with their eyes on the screen they watch on a machine B.F. Skinner said, taught, and teaches at Harvard University in Massachusetts. Now, in other words, psychology and psychiatry are more focused and concentrated on the amount of prescription pills provided by a doctor who got their degree from a medical school social sciences department at a college they call Huskies. where they go afterwards to the Washington Cougars state, near a hospital where they perform their magic and mystery secret gift, ordering some snacks for their patients and clients while they monitor and take notes about who farted when and who never shit after a week of constipation and survived. Now, using calendar dates and time as equations for how to solve a problem of a person who doesn't want to feel what they feel with their emotion, color of the day they describe on a sheet of paper they put outside an elementary school classroom door. For anyone who's got those problems described as ADHD and DSM manual number 50834, autistic, Asperger's, and bipolar and schizophrenic, multi-personality disorder. Counselors and social workers in Seattle on Capitol Hill, as an example, they don't care about appointments. They don't call when they're supposed to for a teleconference appointment on a phone, a telemedicine appointment on a device called a cellular iPhone. They simply stop responding. They don't return phone calls. They ignore messages, and their organization, mental health facility building management administration, instead go apply for more money, more grants, and use the fortune they've built from the 60s and 70s hippies who started a community house for all of those in need of what they provide to a mind and self and ego and emotions to be more social and less violent and discriminatory towards their psychedelics, methamphetamine cracks, and what they call culture, ethnicity, dialect, identity. In a philosophy and theory of mind-body problem, they argue has and never will be solved, along with the consciousness they give with their stimulation to reward a gender-neutral human who denounces their gender, their male, their female, their woman, their man, to be a feminist, masculine, vegan who gets free food delivered from food banks in the university district on their doorsteps, in a room, in a house where they rent an apartment on a check, money order, in a system with processes they use synchronization, eye contact, volume of voice, tone of a word, and clarity of concentration and focus and awareness and attention for every last finger defying gravity. E equals MC squared. And an intelligence and genius and brilliance they call IQ. Maintenance team to provide you a new light for your room in their house they claim has apartments, but never acknowledge as sacred homes and houses in a civilization, in a city where Jeff Bezos arrives on an airplane instead of waking up to cold temperatures in a home with a wall his neighbor hits. When he calls Elon Musk, goes to Mercer Island for a break, and walks with freedom in Magnolia, avoiding Queen Anne and the dangers of African gang thugs who get their drugs from cartels and buy their machine guns in businesses where they sell machetes and knives for the warriors and soldiers they call dominance. And after Elon Musk and Bill Gates check their time, 11 minutes and 30 seconds or so, they go to Microsoft, they go to Google, they go to Facebook, and they go to their technology engineers and talk about a neural implant and a new electric car model for China, and explain how sad and how depressed and how lonely they were for 4 years and how much they love now and Mr. President Joe Biden and unity for all in a world with globalization and no more climate change. From a Paris Accord agreement, everyone says has Catholic religious philosophy and theory and doctrine and psychiatry and psychology and neurology and neuroscience, and now freedom of religion, except for those who believe a racist Jesus lived on a planet called Earth, and a Bible describes what he himself taught as God. And Allah flies, causes hallucinations and visionary thinking and thought for those doctors and nurses treating those coronavirus pandemic patients at the University of Washington Hospital, where students go to learn about language and math and how to control and how to limit and how to make boundaries and how to de-escalate dominance and prosperity, redesigning economics described as infinity. Now,